Got my hands on the OnePlus X, one of the budget phones from the company OnePlus. We're going to take it apart, tear it down, show you what's inside of it. It is a fairly difficult phone to take apart, so be warned about that. There is a screen protector on the device, and it comes with a case, which is pretty nice. Now, they must have known I was going to take it apart because it comes with this warning: please do not disassemble the back cover. So let's see how hard it is. I'm going to remove the dual SIM card tray, and then the back cover is a piece of glass. We got to be really careful when we're prying it away from the device. It is very helpful if you use a heat gun to warm up the glue underneath. It'll soften the glue and allow the back to be separated from the phone a lot easier. I'm going to heat it up until the glass is just barely too hot to touch, and then I can slide a razor blade between the frame and the glass, or use a playing card and just slip it all the way up. Once it's at the right temperature, the glue will just cut very easily away with the playing card. I'm going to use my pry tool to pull off the glass back the last little bit, and you can see the adhesive as it separates from the very top of the phone. Now, the battery does have this nifty little pull tab. Reminds me a lot of the iPhone 4 and 4S. But before we start pulling things, we do have to remove some screws. I will link all the tools and replacement parts in the video description, so check that out. There are 7 screws on this top panel. I'm going to remove those, and then the battery can be unplugged from the motherboard. Then we can start pulling on things. Once the battery is lifted up and away from the device, we can see some extension ribbon cables. Fairly interesting. We'll jump into those in a minute. Here are 8 screws on the bottom housing. Going to remove those, and then this is the loudspeaker for the OnePlus X. You can see the 2 little contact points that rest on the charging port, and that's how it gets its signal. Here's the extension cable for the AMOLED screen. We're going to unplug that just like a little Lego. Going to unplug the buttons, and then the extension cable here on the motherboard, and you can just see that it routes down to the bottom of the phone. That's really all this piece is just an extension cable to plug the screen into. There's one more screw up at the top of the motherboard. Going to remove that. Also a wire cable down in the bottom left, and then the camera. This is a 13 megapixel rear camera. The front is an 8 megapixel. Now, to remove the motherboard, there are 2 little pins at the bottom of the board. So just unpin those, and then the whole thing should pop out. There's a little groove at the top of the motherboard that sits in there as well. Here's a ribbon cable for the charging port. We're going to pull that down to the bottom of the device. Now, before we start tugging on things, there is one more screw at the bottom, and then we're going to lift away the vibrator motor, as well as the wire cable that we unsnapped before, and then the rest of the charging port can be pulled away from the device. It's nice that the charging port is replaceable, since this is one of the common things that are replaced on the device. You can see here it also has the mic attached to it. Now, here's the screen of the device. The screen is glued very securely into the frame of the phone, which is unfortunate. It makes it very, very difficult to repair. If you are going to repair your screen, just heat up the screen to hotter than you can touch, and then remove the AMOLED and front glass with the same method that you remove the back panel. The glue is much stronger for the AMOLED screen though. It is a very messy and dangerous process, and I do not recommend it unless you have absolutely no other option and have nothing to lose, because the screen will not survive the process. So your new screen will have to work. You just slip it through the frame and plug it into the main board. I don't recommend it, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. Putting the phone back together, I'm going to take the charging port, plug in that wire cable. Make sure that the pins on the charging port line up with the plastic pins on the frame as well. I'm going to plug in the charging port to the back of the motherboard before I lay it down into place, putting the top in first, making sure there's no ribbon cables or wire cables on the bottom side, and then I can just press the bottom of the motherboard back into the frame of the phone, and you'll hear it clip down as each of those little clasps grab onto the bottom of the board again. Putting the 13 megapixel camera back into its slot, getting that screw back into place on the top right, plugging in the wire cable, getting the extension cable for the screen, bringing it down to the bottom of the phone, and then plugging that screen back into the cable and setting it down into place. Plugging the power and volume buttons back in, getting the screw into the charging port before I put this loudspeaker back into place and clipping it down. There are 8 screws that hold that into place, and then we can plop the battery back in and plug it in before we get the top metal panel and put that into place as well. I'm going to test the phone. This is actually the first time I've turned this on. I forgot to turn it on when I pulled it out of the box. Getting the top metal plate back into place. Remember, there are 7 screws holding that down. And then to put the back panel back on, I'm just using the double-sided tape. You can use as much or as little as you want, and then putting the dual SIM card slot back into place, and everything is good. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Thanks a ton for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so I can keep making videos like this in the future. Hope to see you around.